McDonald, Garrett Ziegler, and Corey Crosby, our defense coordinator.
We just have each coach kind of talk about your season, talk about your journey here, and what's had to happen for you to get to this point.
We started out our year with a goal in mind of just making it through the regular season as healthy as possible. I think we played a non-region schedule that prepared us for our region schedule. When we got into region, I thought we played fairly well. We ran into a stumbling block against Allendale, Fairfax. We lost them in the regular season 8-6. So I think we kind of refocused after that, and our kids kind of got their mindset back on, at any given night you can be beat, and I think they did a great job of refocusing themselves. Even in practice, the tempo and the atmosphere just changed after that loss, and I think that was a difference in our season. Was after that loss we changed our mentality as coaches and players of changing how we practice and the way we practice, and I think it was just that's what got us to this point now.
We started off the year, again, we set a goal to try to win the last game that we played. And, each week, we took one game at a time. We never looked ahead. The guys responded well early in the season. We were down 26-7 at halftime and came back to win the game. We just did a great job of focusing in. They did a great job of getting everybody to believe in what we're trying to do. Coaches did an amazing job of getting them prepared and getting them ready. And so now we're back to the state championship.
Coach, can you talk about what your team does offensively, defensively?
Defensively, we're 3-4 team. We just line up and play football. Don't do a lot of blitzing. We just come after it. We've had some guys that just believed in the system that Coach Crosby put in, and they've just been playing well defensively for us. They're in that bend but don't break mode. I can remember the other night. There were a couple of times Allendale had the ball inside the red zone, probably about 3 or 4 times, and they were pounding us, and I thought they did a great job of stepping up and not letting them score. Offensively, we just want to know how fast can we go, how quick can we go, and just keep it up tempo as much as possible. We're in spread. It's like Christ Church is in spread, so they're probably doing the same thing we're doing, seeing how many plays they can get in. So that's just been our MO, is just see how fast we can go offensively.
Do you see similarities? Have you seen film?
Oh yeah.
Okay. What have you seen?
They are a very well coached team, and they play extremely hard. And we're multiple 4-3 on defense. Offensively, we're a side read spread offense, and so yeah, we see a lot of similarities.
Coach Frost, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I can't remember, but you had the link in the chain was one of your pregame rituals. Last year it was the book, one word, I think. What you got this year?
Well, this year we still got the link. We're still using the links and getting them in. If everybody puts their link in, they're all in. This year's word was faith, because I felt like we had to have faith in each other. We had to have faith in God, and we had to have faith in what we believe in and what we do. Our kids understand that when they walk out on that field, they're playing for each other. They're not playing for themselves. They don't put themselves first. They're going to play for each other. And having faith in yourself, having faith in your teammates, having faith in your coaches, having faith in God, that is what powers us.
Crosby, can you speak to Christ Church and yeah, I mean, they've been in this game 4 years in a row now. Y'all have some experience at this level, but just talk about what you see with them on film that you're going to have to defend, and offensively what you're going to have to do to score.
Coach Frost does a great job with them. We watched film on Sunday, and it was like we might have had to stand there a little longer. this Sunday, watching film because they do so much offensively that we have to make sure that, you know, we can slow them down. They score quick, they score fast. They got some kids that are look like they're about 4'3", 4'2" running on that film. So we got to try to slow them down. They throw the ball well. I saw the quarterback run the ball well. We got to play a A+ game in order to slow them down and stop them. You know, to score against them, they come from everywhere. You know, they're that multiple 4-3, and they come from outside, inside. Seem like they got about 14, 15 on the field. So we got to find a way to slow them up a little bit so we can have an attempt to get some points on the board. It's going to be tough because they've been there 4 years and we hadn't been since 2010. So, you know, they got experience in this game, and I guess we're the underdogs coming in, and we just got to come in and just play our A+ game against these guys.
Can you talk about, you said at the beginning of the year that you didn't have a whole lot of seniors playing.
We've got 12 seniors on our team that will graduate this year. And of those 12 seniors, 8 starters, about 8 starters. You know, so that's pretty much the tribulation that we have every year, that we lose 6 to 8 in that range of starters. And we had a lot of young kids step up this year and did an extremely good job for us. And our senior leadership has been phenomenal. We have 10 captains, okay? And they have to write a letter why they want to be a captain, and explain to me why they want to be a captain of this football team. And I couldn't turn anybody down because the letters were that good. And they have done a phenomenal job of getting us ready, keeping the team in check, keeping us grounded, and making sure that we just win one game at a time.
How is that in relation to how many captains you usually have?
We've in the past, I've had up to, I think, 8, but then I've had 4 and I've had 6, but this is the biggest group yet.
And the first time you've ever just kept them all the letters?
Yep.
Coach Crosby, I know you guys are no stranger to playing deep into the playoffs, and as you said, back in the state championship. The question is, I guess, does anything feel different about this group for you?
Yeah, you know, this group that we have, you know, we've talked as coaches, this is probably the first group of seniors that's been together from 9th grade. You know, we've had classes that's been big, and by the time they become seniors, you know, they've dropped 3, 4, 5 kids off out of that group. This group has stayed together since they've been in the 9th grade. They've played middle school and JV ball. It's the same 12 guys. They hadn't dropped, hadn't added. So I think that's been the biggest key for us, is that these guys have stayed together. They've seen the rough times. They've seen us get deep into the playoffs and not have that to get over to get into the state championship. And I think they've taken that as motivation of seeing, you know, how things were done in the past. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, you say the path is already made for you. Follow the path. And one thing that we've told these guys is make your own path, leave your own trail. Don't follow what was before you. You make your own path. And I think that's been the difference for these guys, is they're trying to make their own path and create and leave their own stepping stone behind for somebody else to follow them, instead of them following the group that came before them.
Coach Crosby, did you play a team during the regular season or playoffs? And I wish you could right in front of me, but I'm assuming you did. That does what they do. Do you have somebody you can compare to that you can show your kids? You know, it's kind of similar to these guys.
Very similar to Woodland down at St. George. Spread. Woodland doesn't have quite the capabilities offensively as Christ Church does. They're similar, but that's the only comparison we could have with them, is playing Woodland in the spread and seeing them run and being able to throw out of it. But they just do so much more than Woodland did that causes you to prepare a lot more for them.
Did you happen to see anything like that?
Probably not. But B ran the ball extremely hard. They run the ball extremely hard. Like I said, they're well coached, they block well, their running backs run hard, their kids play hard. And, so, you know, the B game was definitely a test for us. And that we got to be able to see somebody who's gonna run the football. They may run it harder, but it was a good comparison.
But they can't, they didn't throw it off. They, I mean, they,
No.
I mean, they're gonna throw it.
They can throw too.
Coach Crosby, what kind of offense and defense formations do you typically run?
Spread, sometimes we go 4 wide, sometimes we go 2 tight flanker, trips. Defensively in a 3-4,
Typically just one back?
sometimes 2 backs.
Coach Frost, from an athletic standpoint, they have some guys who are gonna play at the next level, very athletic. Any team you played similar to them from an athletic standpoint, maybe not philosophy, but just guys that can run and make plays?
Not this year. They're extremely athletic, and, you know, they've got some good-sized young men up there who, I believe, one of them's going to Clemson. That's correct. And, so, you know, they're very athletic, very athletic. So I keep going back to the, first year when we played, that we're lined up, and, you know, we just, in a game like this, and I think Coach Osborne agreed, you just gotta do what you do. You can't really worry about the other team, you just gotta do what you do. And that pretty much tells the story.
Question for the players, and I'll let you guys decide who wants to answer, but if you could sum up in one sentence your teammates and then in one sentence your coach. Start with Christ Church.
I'd say we all have each other's backs. That'd be my one sense. I know Coach Ross is always there for us, no matter if it's dealing with football or just life in general. I know same thing with our team. We're on the field and off the field. We're there for each other. So.
I would have to say that we play for each other. We don't play for ourselves. We always trust the next man, our teammate next to us, that they're going to do our job. So that just pushes us harder to do our job. And with our coaches, we have nothing but love for them because the philosophy, we believe in it. We truly do play to what they coach us. We feel like if we don't do our assignment, we don't let ourselves down, but we let our coaches down. So that just motivates us even more to do what our coaches tell us to do and play to our best of our ability.
Did y'all tell them to say that?
I tell you what, it's a great philosophy.
Coach Frost, how much you guys talk about the winning streak at school? I mean, how much, I know everybody around you talks about it, but how much do you guys talk about it on a weekly basis in practice?
We never set out and said we're gonna win this X number of games. It just happened. It just happened, and we take one game at a time. We've been very blessed and very fortunate. Okay, there was many times it could have ended before it even started. So we've been very blessed, very fortunate to it. We talk about it, but we don't harp on it. It's just like the streak that we broke ended. Ours is going to end one day, and when it happens, it happens. But you know, what we got to keep understanding, what I try to make these guys understand is, this is a football game. It's a game. Okay, there's a bigger game out there called game of life. And you know, all these records and accolades and all this stuff, that's fine. It's great. But what kind of young men comes out of our program is the most important thing. You know, are they going to be, you know, the people that you want? It's like what was written in that book, Season of Life. They, you know, came up, asked the coach, said, how the kids gonna be this year? And he turned around and looked at him and said, I won't know for 15 years. So I know what kind of husband they are, what kind of father they are, what kind of uncle they are, what kind of son they are. And that's a philosophy. And from what I'm hearing, that's a philosophy they go by too.
Coach Crosby, it seems like you guys get a ton of support from the Bamberg community for being such a small school. I guess, can you kind of talk about how much that means to your program?
It means a lot, just being in a small town where athletics are very important to the community. And that's one thing, you know, I tell our guys is, you know, you got the support. They're gonna always support you in what you're doing. So all we ask is you go out there and play and you know, play to the best of your ability and give your fans and your community something to be proud of. You know, we all want to win ball games, but like Coach said, you know, it's bigger than just playing football right now, and that's what we try to harp to these guys is, you know, I want you to be an outstanding young man in the community where, you know, when you go out, someone knows A.J. McDonald for A.J. McDonald, not A.J. McDonald for the football player. And that's one of the things that we try to get our kids to understand. And I think that's why our community is so supportive as they are, because we try to do community services. We try to get them out and a lot of communities see them outside of just football.
For both coaches, what are your travel plans and how do you handle Thanksgiving?
Our travel plans is we'll come down Thursday night and get in a hotel and try to get some rest and get up and go to the stadium probably around 10 o'clock, a little after 10, and get dressed and go through everything we need to go through, practice everything, and get ready to play.
We're about the same. We're going to try to come down on Thursday night and get them bedded down and get ourselves up for a Friday morning about 10, get to the stadium and start.
Do you feel like there's any advantage at all to having been there before?
I think so. I think a little bit. I think the older players know what it's like playing in a different environment in the middle of the day. I think it was helpful last year knowing what it was like and going through the same routine as the previous year.
Same thing, definitely. I think that, the state game, you always